The Time Machine, Chapter 5. I was walking in the bright morning sunlight. I saw that the weather in England had changed for the better. It was delightfully warm out. All around me, people were enjoying themselves. They were playing tag and other simple games. They were dancing to songs that others sang. They were walking hand in hand. It was a scene of perfect peace and happiness. But suddenly, it was shattered by a scream. The scream came from the river. A swimmer was crying for help. Amazingly, no one seemed to come. The people around me kept on laughing, smiling, singing, chattering. No one made a move to go to the rescue. I had to act fast. The river current was carrying the swimmer away. I stripped off my clothes and dove in. I reached the swimmer just in time. I saw the swimmer was a woman. I carried her to the shore. She was small and beautiful, like all her people. I lay her down on the grass. I rubbed her chilled arms and legs with my shirt. At last, she stopped shivering. That was how I met Weena. She taught me her name. Then she taught me her language, and she taught me something even more important, that people still knew how to be grateful. I did not expect to see her again after she went off. These people could not keep their minds on anything. She would quickly forget how I saved her. But that afternoon, Weena joined me again. Smiling, she handed me a wreath of lovely flowers. Then she kissed my hands. After that, she refused to leave my side. She went everywhere I did. I say this, even though she did not like certain places. She did not mind exploring all the great buildings that I found, but I also found many round holes in the ground. They looked like large wells. When I looked down one, I felt Weena's hand on my sleeve. She was trying to pull me away. I gently shook off her weak grip. I could see only blackness in the hole, but I did feel a breath of air. I took a box of matches from my pocket. I lit one and held it over the hole. The flame was sucked downward. Air was flowing down the hole to somewhere below. But why? Who was there to breathe it? I turned to ask Weena. She was staring at my lit match. When it went out, her face fell. I lit another, and she clapped her hands in delight. Another surprise of the future. These people knew nothing of fire. But did they know what was down below? I looked at Weena and then pointed down the hole. She grabbed my arm to stop me, but I was much stronger than she. I kept pointing. I demanded she answer my question. She gave in. Morlocks, she said. I pointed at her. Morlocks? She looked at me as if I were out of my mind. Then she pointed at herself and proudly said, Eloi. What she said gave me an idea that solved many mysteries of this strange world. In this world, there were two kinds of people, masters and slaves. The masters lived above, the slaves lived below. That explained why the Eloi did not have to work. Down below, the Morlocks did all the Eloi's work for them. The Morlocks made the clothes the Eloi wore. They made the dishes and cups the Eloi ate and drank from, and everything else the Eloi needed. I should have guessed it sooner. Even in my own time, there were those who saw the world that way, split between the rich and the poor, between bosses and workers. Then another thought hit me. Perhaps the Eloi had not stolen my time machine. Perhaps it was the Morlocks. Yes, that made sense. The Morlocks were the ones who did the work. They were the ones who would be interested in machines. But what were these Morlocks like? How could I meet them and deal with them? The answers were waiting for me. I kept on walking with Weena at my side. Soon we came upon a huge building in ruins. Its high walls cast shadows as black as night. In those shadows, I saw a pale shape. Another man might have said it was a ghost. But I'm a man of science. I went to find out. I stepped into the shadows. Then I realized that Weena had hung back. I turned to look for her. I saw that the Eloi did know fear. Weena's face was a mask of terror, terror of the dark. I had no such fear. I moved straight into the darkness. I lit a match and saw my first Morlock. It is what I must call the Morlock. I could not tell if it was male or female, but I could see why the Eloi found it so disgusting. The Morlock looked like a small white ape. Pale hair grew on its head and ran down its back. Its long arms hung loose by its side. Its teeth were small and pointed. Its huge gray eyes had a red glow. They looked like they wanted to pop out of its head. I saw all this in an instant. Then the Morlock turned and ran from my match. In its panic, it ran into the daylight. There, it blindly ran into a tree. It shook its head, then it dashed into the shadow of another wall. I ran after it, but I could not catch up with it. It disappeared down a hole in the ground. I was panting. I lit another match and looked down the hole. I saw what I had not seen before. On the side of the hole were small metal handholds and footholds. This was how the Morlocks could reach the surface. This was how they could return to their underground world, and this was how I could follow them, if I had the nerve.